Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call up Georgia Williams, who's going to come up and lead us in our flag salute. And then we're going to take a little picture afterwards, you and me. So it's all up to you. Ready? Yeah. Just look at the flag and say, ready, begin. Thanks.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job.
Pretty good. We're gonna do this, and then we're gonna
Yes,
come right
he
over here.
is.
Come right over here, and I'm gonna kneel down, and you might have to help me get back up. And you're gonna come around right here, and this young lady's gonna go 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
You gotta go 1, 2, 3.
Click 1,
2, 3.
We'll just do one.
Oh, geez.
What a great smile.
You're better than I am. Oh, I gotta thank you, God, you were gonna hate That's who you get, thank you.
Thank you, Georgia.
Thank you.
All right.
Did you give somebody the board assessment?
Me,
Okay.
I feel bad, you guys, all the time, so I'm just gonna do it myself. Okay, where am I at here? I'm looking at which one. We got this done. I can welcome everybody. So nice. We have guests, unless you're here to complain about something, but other than that, we're good. Anything? Any public comment?
No.
Any additions or deletions? We should be able to keep everything in the consent agenda now. The only thing we do,
We're adding Amanda to recognition.
we're adding what?
Amanda, the recognition.
Oh, yes, that's right here. But we're gonna kind of do the consent agenda as soon as he calls. I'm kind of getting to where he can do that. I won't get off on a different tangent real quick. We are gonna have a change. The two policies. Where are the two that you sent out?
Around the
study
same
session.
section.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, we won't worry about those. We'll just have this one, and this is we are doing a motion on this one. Okay. I don't see anything else that needs to change. Do you think we have time to go right to here? You think then, do the recognition? This one first. Okay. We're recognizing you. Because I have to tell you something, you were willing to first take my phone call, actually talk to me about getting appointed to the board, which I very much appreciated. I'm sorry you were on the wrong side of the street and I had to work some magic there, but you did step up and do it, and I appreciate that more than you can imagine. And so we're gonna have a little something for you, and then the 3 little board members and the rest, we'll all stand here and take a nice little picture.
You want to send her behind the G?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Gee, I get behind you.
Gee.
Have your headlights up,
Get that.
angel.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey,
you're flowing.
Get just a little bit in there.
1, 2.
3.
Everybody say
Need security, doesn't it?
everybody say reindeer poop.
Stop. 1, 2, 3. We'll do one more. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful, thank you.
Can't say anything about the people that aren't here because nobody knew about this. So.
Why don't we cheer those down?
Oh, no. Yep, it's right here. Okay, so we got Trey gonna call in a minute. We're gonna jump to the consent agenda. Then we'll come back to you. That works for you. We had a little snafu with who can vote, so we missed a couple members, so we had to bring one in on a phone call so we could actually get a vote.
I can do my superintendent report quickly.
In a minute, you got a minute.
All right, so we had the migrant fall parent night the other night. I had about 50 parents just in the parent session. I thought it was really well attended. And then I participated on the interview process for the new YBC president. Narrowed down to 3 candidates. We're excited about that. One of them is Teresa Rich, who's the current interim president. So I think we're going to be in good hands. And then middle school sports are underway. We had turkey bingo. I think it already happened, didn't it? And then Thanksgiving break this week.
Yeah.
And then middle school, high school, wrestling starts, basketball starts, and then we'll winter vacation soon. Not that anybody's counting down, but everybody is counting down.
Okay,
That's my superintendent report.
are you there, Trey?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, Trey.
Hi.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move directly to the consent agenda at this time. And I'd like to call for a motion to approve consent agenda, and Amanda, you will have to sustain from this.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. You did a great job, Trey. Thank you. See ya. Perfect. I like it. Okay, now we're gonna move back to cultivating kindness. So everybody doesn't have to sit through the rest of our spiels, and Amy's gonna take over.
Thank you, everybody, for coming so much. We appreciate you showing up. As you know, when you get nominated, somebody writes about you, and sometimes they show up to speak about you, and sometimes they just would prefer us to speak what they said about you. So, do we have Brenda Sanchez here? We don't have her here
Nope.
today, do we? Okay, she nominated Tania Aracon. Did I say that correctly? Aracon. You want to come up here and hear what they have to say? So Brenda Sanchez is a coworker of yours, and you're in the transportation department, newly hired with Chris, right? With recently hired, I guess, top of the year. This is what she had to say about you. She is always even-mannered, treats everyone with respect. She always greets us with a huge smile, and she adds calmness to our department. Thank you. So that was really sweet. These awards were made by a sophomore. Yes, that they were really proud to do. And so if you don't mind just kind of hanging out, we'll get a picture.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
They usually show.
Next, we have Patty Beach. She's a GMS teacher. She was nominated by Angela Gonzalez, who is a parent. And Miss Gonzalez is here. Great, thank you. I printed this out. You like it? Oh, yeah.
I need it.
You need it? I do good.
Okay,
Next to you.
so Mrs. Beach, I'm gonna read what I said. Mrs. Beach's dedication and effort have been truly exceptional and go far beyond her regular duties. She was my son's sixth grade teacher last year, and she recently stepped in to take over the seventh grade IEP case management. This move alone shows an incredible commitment to her students' continuity of care. She shows a sincere interest in my child's educational progress and overall well-being. Is the truth. She has acted as a fierce advocate for him with his teachers, always working in his best interests. She is highly communicative and always available to answer our questions. On more than one occasion, she has stayed late to make sure a problem was fully solved for my son, showing her willingness to prioritize his needs over her own time. She has fostered a positive and trusting relationship with both my son and our family, which is invaluable to his success. Mrs. Beach is an outstanding professional, prioritizes her students, and demonstrates a level of commitment and sacrifice that clearly warrants this recognition. It has been a pleasure to have her as my child's teacher, and Grandview School District is lucky to have her. Thank you.
We go outside.
Thank you.
No, he's off. He only approved it. Now he's off.
And then next we have Jeremiah Hunter. Is he not here? He is a high school teacher. And he was nominated by Isabella Hernandez, or Nico, and she's a student. This is what she had to say. He teaches his class in a way that's engaging, different from any kind I've ever experienced. He cares for his students and adjusts his teaching style to suit their needs. For example, if we're testing, he'll make sure we're up and active the next day, entertained and more active. I don't have better words other than I genuinely look forward to his class every day. It's certainly my highlight, and I feel safe and welcome there. I know.
Good.
Sorry, I got So I will bring this to Mr. Hunter tomorrow and get a picture of him as well. So he was outside in the whole. Thank you.
Awesome, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Tanya.
Now we're gonna move on to, Betty's gonna come up and, do her stuff for the, CTE work that's being done.
You all. So. I hope, did everybody get to look through the documents for those? Did anybody have, first off, did anybody have any questions about anything in either the comprehensive local needs assessment or the 4-year plan? Okay, if there's no questions, I'll just start with that. This is an annual project that we're all supposed to do across the state. And it
You can pull a chair up if you'd like.
Oh.
Yeah, you said.
You don't have to stand before us.
Great, thank you. This is just so the way this has worked historically is that each school district did it on its own, Career Tech had. And now because we're part of the, we did this last year, also in the same manner, but now because we're part of the Career Readiness Coalition, some about $5,000 out of our Perkins annually supports the work that the team is doing, and they're serving many districts and regions in the ESD 105 region. So we're sharing a huge amount of material, and it's taking a noticeable load off of individual districts. So for example, this is something we just do by ourselves, and all of the names, all of the information we have to find and do ourselves, which is fine. But the way this now works with the Career Readiness Collaboration collaborative is that they complete it for us for everything that aligns with all the work that we're doing together. But then the sections that are just ours, we take care of ourselves. It's been a huge lift on their part, and it's really nice to have that connection with the CRC, as we call it. And to be able to just get the work done that really is important, and still have all this common work that we can share. So that's one of the big changes with comprehensive local needs assessment. More importantly for me, this is what we use when we upload to OSPI. This is evidence we use for the courses that we're trying to bring on board, or when we are renewing courses. It's just another way to verify that we've looked into it's a needs assessment for the careers and opportunities in the area. So this is a way to document it and verify it. We also address how we're serving a particular group of students. In my case, I've identified multilingual learners, and also as inside newcomers. That's kind of my area of interest this year. But that's not to say that anybody else is excluded. They're all still part of it, but that's the area of interest that I want to focus on and see how we're serving them and how we can better serve those students. So there's a number of points with this that we're supposed to do for Perkins funding, for accountability, and then also just for measurable, tangible results. I just wanted to share this with the school board because I want people to know what we're doing or what I'm doing, and then also to find out if there's any feedback or anything maybe I've missed that you want addressed. And that'll just get added in there, and I'll share it back with our CRC, and we'll be good to go. Any questions about the CLNA? Pretty boring stuff. It's actually really interesting. I do like the data. It's really interesting. Also as a way to identify gaps in areas that I need to pay closer attention to. And I think we're doing really well. And that's like, see. And so I have to mark which score and why, and what I'm going to do about those gaps. So it's definitely a good reflective tool and guideline for me. So I'll go on to the 4-year plan. This is district wide, so this would include the middle school. it's heavy on the high school because that's kind of where the outcomes are with graduation and jobs and things like that, but it does include the middle school. All the quality criteria on the left side, those are the key components that we have to be accountable for OSPI and Perkins funding. These are common across the nation. And then I add in here as a reminder mostly, but under curriculum, instruction, and evaluation, in bold, I've identified programs that have to be reapproved. And so that's what we're working on right now. By January 31st, I need to have everything in for the business and marketing staff. Programs, sorry. Next year, ag, science, following year, skilled, and so on. So I just kind of keep a running reminder there, but also it sort of helps me think more about what we might need for those programs as time goes by. STEM has a huge turnover with technology and equipment. So it's an extraordinary turnover where construction trades, maybe not so much. So there's a way for me to think about things as we're looking in the future and what we want to do. You folks mentioned the importance of math, which is agreed. One of my big goals is to identify CTE math courses so that we can incorporate those. And there are several that we can bring into the district. And I'm really, really curious to be very deliberate about it and then to manage the data and see how the data plays out, if it plays out, how it helps us with other classes. This is also where if we have new courses that we want to bring in, as some of you know, I'm very, very interested in a diesel repair program and ag vehicles. The food course I call not lawnmowers and weed whackers, but ATVs and things for the ag industry. That's something that would start here, and then those conversations can continue on. But if it's not in here, yeah, it's hard to build on it if it's not in there, or whatever else we might be thinking about collectively, or what I'm thinking about, or what I've heard from people in the community. And it just is every 4 years. So it's I feel like it's a pretty responsive document. Things can change. If something doesn't happen, I would just document what happened, like COVID happened. So that would be, it's not an excuse. It's just like, that's what happened. And that's why we didn't do X, Y, and Z. And sometimes they can just get rolled over because of funding. And it's not a do or die situation. It's just keeping track of things and being able to communicate it. So if there's ever interest from the board of things that they want to see, this would be a good place to start and keep conversations going from there. And that's really all I have. I just wanted to update you with some of those. We will have a guest in next month to update some more stuff happening. It's kind of cool. I'm excited about, and yeah. Are there any questions, comments?
I would like to see it grow,
What? Well,
CTE.
yes, sir.
I would like to see the land get some develop, or at least have a plan. Looking forward as to what can we do with that property that we purchased that's sitting there and just has gravel on it.
Do you want me to make the appointment to talk, or do you want to?
However it needs to work, but I would really like to see something like that happen. And I think you already know this, what my goal or what I envision is a Lower Valley Tri-Tech. A Lower Valley one where Prosser, Mabton, Granger, Zilla, Sunnyside, Grandview can all travel to and not travel all the way to the bigger towns.
There are some opportunities, and I'm very interested in visiting with anybody who wants to talk about it and see where.
I know a few years ago, they sent me a thing from Othello where they bought them a semi, donated a semi, and they do truck driving. And I've actually talked to several of farmer friends of mine that said, wow, we would love to look into something like that if we could help so that when kids get right out of school, they could be a driver for us. And so there's little things like that.
West Valley is building an airplane.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, part of it, because there's an aeronautical fabrication program over there in that region, so.
Ah.
Yeah.
The Rice Beck High School over on the west side, they build a plane every year that they sell at the Northwest Aviation Conference.
And then what we'll do is we'll have the Central Washington University Aviation Program students test pilot it.
Yikes. But you know, if you took an old semi from somewhere that somebody donated and you rebuilt it and fixed it all up, and I mean, you could sell that or do something
But
with
we could
it.
also use that for the CDL program.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, but I think you can get one donated for that too.
Yeah, we're partnering with Gloria to do that.
Welding, the engine repair, huge. I know kids that are trying to get into Perry to do those same things, and if they can go here and it costs a lot less and then get a boost on it, it's only a benefit.
Yeah, we have a terrific volunteer in the welding program, and it's just amazing what's going on in there, and he's on the floor all the time with the kids, and I'm working with him with some material and some kind of instruction related things, but he is a volunteer. He gave quite a bit of time over the break we had earlier this month, and was working with the kids for Skills USA, and we have a girl that's comes back all the time with them, so it's pretty productive, and it's pretty good.
Sometimes you'll see his Corvette parked on the side.
Oh.
Other times you'll see his
Okay.
chopper.
Yeah, I've seen him there. I've talked to him there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So during COVID, the first year, that's just a quick little story. First year I got on the board, they would do the thing with is that Rotary or what is it that they give away no, dollars for scholars. So anyway, they would have board members go up and shake the kids' hands and give them their little stuff, and we doing it outside because it's COVID. This young lady comes up and I asked every one of them to come up. I said, what are you going to do? What are you going to be? Oh, I'm going to Central and I'm going to do this. I'm going to WSU. I'm going to do this. This young girl, not very big,
Little
she
tiny
comes
bit.
up and she goes, I'm going to CVC for the welding program. I told her, I said, you're the smartest one here. I said, I'm telling you right now. I said, if you need anything to make that work, you let me know. Because you have just set yourself up for life.
We do have a pending field trip to Othello for the two teachers. They're gonna go and observe in the spring. Othello's welding program is AWS American Welding Society certified. And our volunteer is probably more than qualified to be able to move in that direction. And so we're gonna send two teachers up,
Nice.
Mr. Ramirez and Mr. Salazar, and they'll go up because they want to see how it works, and Othello was completely on board with that. So
That's
I think
awesome.
that'll be a huge benefit for our students to have an understanding how we can get that certification.
Perfect. No, and being a mechanic on things, I know a kid right now that's going up there to Perry to be a mechanic, so we'll come back and work on the farm and take care of all their stuff for him. So I mean, if we can help them get a boost on that and save everybody a little bit of money, the bonus.
Yeah, there's a lot of options out there, and that's my obligation is to serve them.
I'm already trying to get a hold of the people that own the property where we can get an access way to Fort Sale from the Hunt property. I drove by it the other day and saw that little alley through there. I said, we need to get a little easement through here and get a road that goes that way.
Anybody have any questions, comments, frustrations? Okay. Well, that's.
Thank you.
very much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Betty.
You ready? Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a great Thanksgiving. I should have told Amy that. You didn't tell anybody that. Okay, so we're going to move on to Mr. Shree. I have a quick little story about Mr. Shreve I'd like to say before we get why he's getting ready. I did a budget class up at WASDA, and there was 3 people from 3 of the ESDs that put this thing on that help all the schools and audit and different things. And when Brad walked in, they all said, Brad, come sit with us. We have a chair right here. You can help us. Come help us.
He's like Norm from Cheers.
I'm telling you.
I'm mostly gonna go through the PowerPoint today, but I'm giving you an F-196 if there's other questions you might have. And yes, there's 82 pages, and I believe you have, like, here, most of them. The others just really get into all the way down to actual revenue codes, actual expenditure codes, which when you do receive the EL8 that comes out, there's links to the entire F-196 inside there also. But anytime you want additional documents, let me know. And the doggone overachievers already started looking at all the paperwork. I like it.
Look for that final number.
So let's switch this over here. Screen, there we go. Okay, so this is your financial report. If it's okay if I just sit right here. Yeah. This is for the 24-25 school year, which ended on August 31st, 2025. First thing we always talk about is enrollment, because enrollment drives most of our, it drives all the basic ed dollars that come to the district. How do we do as far as projecting enrollment? You can see the enrollment was pretty doggone close.
One kid off.
Yeah, so we're 3.23 below what we budgeted. CLC was above though, and so yes, the overall is down by 1. And then running start has been increasing. We projected 58 FTEs. These are not number of students who actually participate in the program, but FTEs. And so there was 70.76. That does include a small FTE that we're running start for July and August, which allowed them to participate this year. They did last year and this year, and the state would pay for them in the summer. In the past, they would not. So that happened this year. And the dropout re-engagement program, 6.78. So that program starting to come back. It really kind of dropped off from a high with about 15 at one point in time. And I didn't bring the current numbers in. I think they're up close to 8 or 10, aren't they? Oh, I just saw the numbers, didn't we? We just talked about them. 7 and 8, 7 in September and 8 in October. So, but vocational ed projected 320, 320.73, we're 0.73 over. And then also the CTE program. I still call voc ed. I need to change my verbiage here to say CTE. On 7th and 8th, we projected 45. They averaged at 41.99, so they're a little bit below the mark there. So how does overall enrollment look over the years? This right in here, the blue up here are the actuals. And so we really like to see the actuals above budget. We came very close here in 17-18. Then it took a dive and went, oops, what happened here? And we corrected for it the next year. And then the blue line is above where the budget is. We always like to see it that way. We don't want to be upside down like some school districts are anywhere from 100 to 300 students upside down where their budgets were at. We know there's going to be a decline, but are we budgeting and aware that we're going to have a decrease? And we'd like to see the two numbers fairly close, like in 2021, those are close. That's great. That we had a big gap in 23-24. That's not the gap I'm always shooting for, but it's a nice relief to say, oh, look, the enrollment leveled off and went up a little bit. A little bit more than we anticipated, which was good. But this year, then look what happens this year, thinking, well, it'll stay level again. We budgeted 3364 here, came in at 3362.87. So all of a sudden this decline happens, and trying to take a look at that and say, hey, is it because of birth rates? Is it the kinders coming in? Because that's usually where it is. And there's more seniors that are graduating than kindergartners that are coming in. And it's always nice to see these additional programs that are supported within our district, supporting our students. We have the Title I program in here, the TBIP, Transitional Bilingual Program, the LAP program, the migrant, and it's SPED. And this has the percentage of students. Let me come back and then refer to Title I shows the percentage of students that are participating in these programs. When it comes to Title I, the three elementaries in the middle school are Title I schools, school wides. And so we get a chance to, we count all the enrollment at those 4 schools, and then at the high school, it's targeted. And so otherwise, if we had all of our schools, and CLC is also a targeted class. Targeted just means that it's not a school-wide program where all the funds can be blended. That's what it is, a blending of funds. Not all funds, but we blend the ones we can that allow us to put money within a school-wide to blend it to support the programs. TBIP, Transitional Bilingual Program. You can see the percentage there is at 40%. And then when I say 40%, it's 40% of the enrollment that are part of these programs, a part of our overall enrollment, the 3362 we had seen earlier. And so 40% of our students qualify for TBIP. LAP, 41% qualify. And LAP and Title I, they kind of work hand in hand in our schools. We, for the most part, push an awful lot of LAP down to the elementaries at this point in time because the target from the state, LAP is state dollars. And the target there is K3. So they really like to see us spend as much as we can within the K3. We can spend in other grades, but that's really the biggest target. So we need to spend more dollars per student in those areas, in those classes, in those buildings, in those classes. Then we have migrant ed, and about 19.85, 20%. And then you have special ed, and about 18%. And we're approaching, well, we did approach, we're 606 students were in special ed on this last year. And so that number starts to climb, and you can see it's 18% of the population. Well, the state only funds at 17% of the dollar amount. So anything that's over the 17%, last year, that other extra percent, they don't give us an enhancement. We get funded basic ed, but we don't get the actual enhancement for the students. This year, there's no ceiling. So there's no 17%, there's no ceiling, and they gave us a few more dollars per student, which is helpful. Then we're all about numbers. I'll go quickly, and it's nice that before the meeting tonight that you had a chance to go through the strategic plan and everything we do, we're talking about today. I know these are numbers that I'm referring to, but they support this. Whatever it is, whatever the target is, support the programs to increase that growth that we need to have growth in the students, in their test scores, those types of things. And so I know I give a high level, but we'll kind of continue to go here. But on the revenue side, we receive dollars locally. Those are for our levy. Local includes levy, and then any other money we might collect to the state is from state basic ed. And then the federal dollars, those are federal grants coming in, and then the other agencies, and you can see the other agencies. The budget had included that $1 million contingency. That's why the number looks so large, but we collect is much smaller because that contingency still is maintained there. And then when we receive grants, so you can see the grant actually, we brought in more grant dollars than we had anticipated. It was anticipated 232,000, brought in 249. I know I picked up just one line right there for the most part. And our state dollars came in higher. I jumped up here 1.1 million higher than we anticipated, which is great. I always like to see that. And the local dollars were a little bit lower, and those will just be from collecting local dollars, levy dollars, and other such things that would be local. They also the state considers the TK program, it's a state program, but they consider it to be like local dollars. It's not considered basic ed. So if they were to cut TK, and we receive $1 million in TK, give or take a few pennies. So if they cut TK, they could cut TK this legislative session without making a reduction to what they consider basic ed. So you're aware of that. So that's a large number right there too. And then you can see in here that overall, we budgeted 66 million. We brought in 65 million. So we brought in a little like $553,000 less. However, we had to book. So this is an accounting thing. I had to put in here to match. If you go through and you're looking at your F-196 and you look at the first page, not the first, but the second page, you go, your revenue says 65,719,000, and your slide only would added up to 65,526. What's wrong? So I had to put this 192 in here as a booking thing that we need to do for any leases we have, a long-term lease on our fiber. And so when we book that, it makes it look like another revenue. We book a revenue with an expenditure at the same time. I'm trying to say hi here. Just, that's why this odd number shows up. I want to make sure it would balance back to your documents. And then, revenues not received. As an example, if we expended money in a grant, we claimed it. We don't leave money on the table. And, if you know, I've spoken with you numerous years that say, I don't like to send money back to the state or to anybody else if we have a grant. So we do everything we can to claim those grants. We qualify for them. Of all the activities we have, including things that are in the strategic plan, a lot of things we do qualify with most of our grants that we have already. We align with what we're already doing within the district with our grants. Now I go to the next slide. So you can see here that most of the dollars come from the state, 83.83%. That can be in basic ed. It can also be in additional grants from the state. We receive grants from the state, but it's all considered state money. So we put all the state in there together. It could be the LEA as part of that number, which it is. So LEA is in there, it's part of state. The LEA could disappear if we lose our levy. And I didn't put an LEA slide in here, but we can always discuss that later or today. Expenditures, inside the F-186, they're the ones that break them down and they say, what about regular instruction, special ed, vocational ed, compensatory ed? Compensatory ed are categorical programs such as LAP, Title I, different things like that, that have a target. And such as the same thing as special ed. Special ed in here is state dollars as well as the federal money. So that the state money coming in here for expenditures, these are expenditures. This is expenditures in special ed that are state and federal. How much of special ed we spent in special ed this last year? And you can see it says 7849. So we're under by about 125,000. Vocational ed is on here. Voc ed also includes the state. Most of it's state. There's a very small piece that's federal. Or Carl Perkins, as an example, is only about 40,000, and so it's not much of this federal to begin with. Compensatory ed is going to be all the title programs. The Title I, the Title II, Title III, Title IV, Title V. Title I we talked about earlier, which is the biggest one, was supporting students. Title IIA is professional development for teachers and administrators. Title III is for migrant students and support within the program for mostly professional development. Title III, Title IV is mostly targeted for social emotional. Title V is very small and kind of depends on how it comes in, but it can align the same with Title IV, and Title V can be the same. We don't always receive Title V, so it's kind of an anomaly what does come in. Again, other instructional, that's where the contingency, I put a little footnote there. That's at the $1 million contingency. So you can see why that's quite a bit lower. Part of the contingency, which is a set aside in case we receive other grants, those types of things. And federal stimulus, we still had a small amount that we were able to claim in September of 24. That's why there's 50,000 in here. Finished up one of the grants. Again, we finished up claiming 100% of our ESSER money. Community services are in here. We budget about 35,000 to have enough capacity for those types of things. That's usually reimbursement to ASB might have a game, and when they have a game, they reimburse the district for not reimburses only for certain positions, such as the supervisors. We don't charge them; they take care of the ticket takers, those types of things. But we as a district take care of the ticket, the supervisors. And so I really got that a little bit wrong because they don't reimburse us for that, but the other ones they do reimburse. The money comes into this part of it is reimbursement for programs. And then support services are all the things from school board, superintendent, business office, HR, communications. Then we have all the maintenance pieces are part of that. You have maintenance custodians are all part of those things.
You were right on the budget on that one.
That was
Almost
really
right
close.
on.
We do what we can to make all of them. So what about expenditures? What does a pie chart look like on this? Regular instruction is 43.78. Regular instruction can be all the way across the board, not necessarily big. Oh my gosh. Okay, look at that. What is that? It's supposed to be compensatory.
It's
So
compensatory.
sorry. I I spotted it though. I called it out. Sorry. We'll fix that one. So anyway, you have regular instruction, special ed. You can see special ed is about 12.3%. CTE is 15.55%. 13% is going to be the compensatory piece. And then the Brown support services is 24%. And again, I mentioned that all those pieces account as support services. General fund summary. So here's a summary. We had revenues of 65 million, expenditures of 64 million. A net operating balance was 1.2 million. Then we transferred out 500,000 to capital projects, 100,000 to the transportation vehicle fund. And where's the drum roll? So we ended with 655,000 to the good, even after those two transfers. And we went through and we scrubbed the books really well this year, and we're able to recoup about $340,000 in federal dollars that we could then claim, federal and state money that we could claim, and raise the amount of revenue that was coming in. And then the expenditures, we made some reductions at the end of the year, such as we're going to order a lot of computers for the staff and for the students, and we need to turn around and do that now. We want to make sure that we weren't going to go too far over. So we look at things and say, well, let's cut this and this and this, and let's see how summer school comes in, because summer school has been large in the past. This year is not as large as it has been previously, like during Esther. I mean, we had a couple of full buildings, didn't we? I had a lot. So
we could have actually done our full transfer now that we did that. Because we were gonna do $1 million, right?
we could.
Could
But I also
have.
want to buy those student computers, so.
No, I'm with you. I'm just saying.
Yes, but
We were being conservative and
Yeah.
then we found out at the end of the day after it's all over that we could have.
yeah.
Hindsight's 2020.
No, but we could do it at any time.
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Plus, in the current budget, you can transfer 1.1 million. So you would do that piece first, and then we would take a look later. So those are available. We'll see how the enrollment comes in this year. So far, it's looking fairly good, but we need to wait and see what happens January, February type of a thing. That'd be my recommendation, just to.
Yeah, you'd much rather be about 4 or 5 high. That way you could lose a little bit. You don't want to be right at it, because if you
Yeah.
lose 3 or 4, it could hurt.
Yes, and this time of year, we'd like to be, I like to hit that target at least 25 to 50 over this time of year, because it drops off in the spring.
When would you want to get the computers? End of the year?
Actually, I've been talking to Jesse about doing that now.
Okay.
Right, he's been going out and he's gonna work with the principals. He has a meeting tomorrow to find out what the elementary principals, we'll start there, elementary principals. Okay, so what is the highest need? Was your priority? What grade level is your priority to start looking at the priority first of all, and then fill that need look at the elementary this time.
There's a December date where the price is gonna jump up by, remember the percentage for me that you said?
It's double digit almost
I
10.
wanna say 20,
Wow.
but maybe 20 is not the right number, but we wanna get them as soon as possible, because by December, the price is gonna go up.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So that ends up being over 100,000. We'll need to bring it in. So we might get the first group, just to give you a heads up, get the first one coming through about 90,000 or so we can get it through, because the board meeting is going to be December 9th, and maybe it'll be, if the timing's not right, because we want to make sure we honor the policies you have, and it's $100,000 or more we bring it in, just so you're aware of. But that's where we heading, is really targeting computers right now for students. And there's a few staff members that need them too, that their laptops are getting old, so.
Hmm.
We're taking a look at those pieces.
Yeah, Jose has a loaner right now, doesn't he?
Yeah,
His died.
mine died. I think the new one's in, I have to get it from Jesse, so.
I think you told me today you're gonna get it tomorrow. It's gonna be Christmas early.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Get it for a 5-day weekend to get it all,
Mhm.
to learn it.
Good job, Brad.
Good job,
Yeah.
sir.
Good job.
Yes, sir.
So then here's the fund balance. Restricted, we have the restricted, committed, assigned, unassigned pieces that are on the F-196. I broke them just so those 4 categories. You can see what the beginning ending is at each one of them. And that the ending on the restricted has gone up a little bit. The committed piece has dropped. The committed is the one you're going to approve tonight. later on because it's required to for that unemployment pool. So it's going from 280 down to 217. Interesting thing about that unemployment pool, if I may just take a moment. I've been taking a few moments, haven't I? So the unemployment pool, we have not paid in for 3 or 4 years because we had such a reserve in there. You can see it's 280,000. And this last year, spent it down, 64,000. We had interest earning some other things, but the actual unemployment was a little over $60,000 in unemployment claims against the school district. With that happening, which we're fine, we still have quite a reserve in there. So we'll start taking a look about starting to charge again for unemployment within our payroll ranks. But we're fine. It's been very, the reserve that we have within the pool has always been large. So if there's years that we need to cut back and not pay like we have been here for a couple of years, that's just fine. The reason we'd want to continue to just passing on some knowledge real quick. So the reason we'd want to continue to charge unemployment rates, maybe it's a 0.002 per hour per dollar type of thing coming through, which is a small number, is so that we can collect from our federal programs. Because federal programs, you can't just automatically pay for unemployment unless you have it as a payroll cost. And so by building these things up, we're able to pull them from, like ESSER was in place, said, oh, let's keep doing this. ESSER is here. Let's continue to collect unemployment on those dollars that are going out, dollars that we're paying in payroll. It was a small number, it's 0.002. It's not a large number at all. So that's that piece real quick. And then the assigned piece is 2.5 million. And then the unassigned is 8.173. Assigned would be some of those, we have some capital projects that are coming up. And so they may go capital projects or not. We've discussed that a little bit. I didn't actually print the document I put together, the different projects we're thinking. So there's a reserve for that part of it. That's part of that assigned part. Restricted, I should bounce up. Restricted are our dollars we've already received, such as, LAP, which we do have a LAP carryover. And so it needs to go in this restricted because it's dollars we've already received and they're restricted to be spent that way. And so one of them happens to be LAP, another one happens to be CTE. And then again, here you can see the ending fund balances. It's not my intention to grow a large reserve. It's try to keep it balanced as best we can. You never know at the end of the year. So, and again, that percentage that's the overall fund balance, not the unassigned. So when the state looks at them and they rank it, so we're talking about ranking the districts and they look at only your unassigned right now, what's your unassigned fund balance and what percentage it is, and then they give you a ranking and rate it either 1 through 4. I think Dan said, did they talk about that a little bit in there? You can look that up. And they showed 3 of them in there. And part of it is your fund balance. It's also important to keep a larger fund balance down the road when the district decides to go for additional bonds because it helps with the bond rating. It's not going to help us move up the bond rating. Right now we sit because of our property values in the Grandview or where they are. It really will not, it won't help us move up, but it helps us stay where we are in A1. And so part of that's because of the financials where they are. And Moody's has made the comments about that numerous times when I've sat down with them when we go out for bonds, saying, well, yes. Well, we would have moved you down a notch, but because you've been very good stewards of money through the years, we're going to keep you this level. But they can't move us to, because we don't have the property basis to move it up to AAA. And then one of the new things in here, I should have grabbed a few more in here because I mentioned them too, but so the new thing in here is they have a new thing through the state and county committee decided that we should talk about CTE. And so I put on here CTE, the carryover, so you're aware of it. There's a 44,290 carryover at the high school. The middle school did not have a carryover, but what high school does. We've had this number be as high as 100,000 in previous years. And so they have spent quite a bit down this year. And the reason to bring it to the board is the new state law allows for the ending carryovers that you can place the carryover. You can blend the middle school and high school and you can put it in another building if you want to. But the more important thing they changed is allowing that year end to say, we'd like to reserve it into and put the money into capital projects fund and build the capital projects fund. So Dan had mentioned building a building. So if we had a large reserve, we could say, oh, we'd like to put this in capital projects and start to build that reserve to build a structure of some sort. It'll probably never be enough, Dan, to build a
No.
building and it's reserve side of the house, but it would be, to build a greenhouse, chicken food. I don't know.
Rabbit hutch.
Rabbit hutch. Okay. And then here's that reserve for the unemployment pool, again, the 217,383 on there. And we did have carryover. I'd have to bring up the spreadsheets real quick. We had carryover as LAP. And there's fundraisers, all the buildings that have fundraisers, the elementary schools have fundraisers. Those dollars they fundraise, we put them in that also the reserve account that carries over. So we maintain that and just spreadsheets outside of the accounting system. We know what the revenue expenditures are, but we maintain what that actual reserve is. If you'd like to hear about those, I can shorten my screen up. I can bring those numbers up also. But I was trying to keep the number of slides. I don't know. I tried to keep it so I didn't have a whole bunch of slides too. Okay, so I can't see this. It's blocked in the front. So you can see here over the years, how have we done as far as revenues and expenditures? The revenues being in a fuchsia color, I guess, if I may call it that. And the yellow happens to be expenditures. So you can see that over the year after year, for the most part, well, all the years. You can see up here that the revenues have exceeded expenditures. This does not include transfers, but this is operationally how we've done. Operationally, we've stayed within our budget. And then this line down below here is where is the fund balance? And you can see the fund balance over the years. Way back here was 6.4. Up until today, we're at 11.47. We've pretty much stayed pretty steady here. 1920 moving forward, that line is looking pretty level, which is good. We have a fairly large reserve. There's no point in really growing it, but we'd like to just stay stable if we can and be able to weather any storms that might happen. If the economy turns down, like it did in 2007 through 2012 or so, we were able to weather that storm by having a reserve. And that's what it's really for.
Your reserve's gonna have to grow a little bit because your expenditures are growing. So your storm gets bigger. So it's gotta grow a little bit. I'm not saying it's gotta grow, millions of dollars, but it's gotta somewhat keep up with that growth to a point.
Mm-hmm. And when we let it level off here, that slide before, let's see if I can go back to that slide right here. So even though it was leveling off in here, you can see that this is a very large percentage.
Yeah, you started out high and you're just more.
I'm trying to get in this range, probably in this range right in here somewhere. We've talked about this before,
Yeah.
Haven't we? So
15, 16.
And so even if the fund balance drops a little bit this next year, if it can still stay within this number here, yeah, circle that one. We're still doing much better than 90% of the districts.
If not 99%.
It's not a bad thing to be above average.
No, not in this case.
Yeah, I was saying that is.
But we want to maintain and support this.
Yes.
The strategic plan. And if we need to do something in there to really support it, we need to say, hey, we need to shift during the middle of the year, whatever it is, we need to shift and really support that, put in resources that direction. I mean, when you do a budget with all those resources already, looking at this document and doing everything we can, but sometimes things change during the year. So we want to be able to do that. And this shows where we do not have 24-25 state averages yet, but I have put up here what our calculations are, which are not always going to match the calculation from the report card on SBI's website because of the way they do their calculation, but we're still very close. So if someone were to look at this, say, right, we looked in 22-23, district said 18,288, but the state says the Grandview is not that. You're lower or higher, usually lower. And just the number of students they use.
We've dropped a couple of dollars each of the last 2 years per student.
We did.
We're not the only ones losing students. I talked to a few people.
No, this is how much money we spent per student.
No, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
number of students.
Right.
We're not the only ones losing students.
So students start to come in. So Chuck, if we go back to the enrollment up here on the top and we talk about how many students and what we anticipated,
Mm-hmm.
that way up here. right in here. So in 2022, 22, 23, we budgeted for these number of students. We hired staff based upon those number of students, and then more students came in. So that would lower it a little bit when we
Yeah.
start looking at those gaps. This one here came fairly close, didn't it, Chuck? So looking at this one, I've got to go back and take
Yeah.
a close look and say, why was this one that tight? But some of the things we've done is we reduce some of our expenditures, like buying those computers I mentioned at the end of the year. We started to cut back and making sure that we were still going to hit our target. And then I have the other funds in here. The first one is capital projects fund. Capital projects, we had projected enrollment, have projected revenues to be 1.6 million. That has that transfer of $1 million. Okay, to be but really we only transferred 500,000. We've had federal purpose in here in case we had additional ESSER, because when we did the budget way back in June and July, we weren't sure if we are going to expend them all, if they're going to finish the projects they were working on, how much we need to expend. And so we didn't bring additional dollars in here in capital projects anyway. We brought in some additional, we mentioned earlier about those federal dollars coming in, but it was in the general fund, not in the capital projects. Because we'd already claimed all the dollars on the capital projects, on the projects we had at the Smith and at the middle school. Those extra dollars paid in HVAC had already taken care of that. So there you can see we brought in 964,000, and here are the basic projects that we had completed and worked on for 2.1 million. And then the excess, and we had expended more. And we expect capital projects to start to drop. It doesn't have any revenue source really coming in other than a transfer. And so the excess revenue, which is actually under the expenditures greater by 1.1 million. And so the fund balance is here on the bottom. The fund balance is 6.5 million, and we end at 5.3, which is pretty doggone good when we don't have any. We haven't had a bond, haven't sold a bond, we have additional dollars to finish the high school back in 2020. That's actually done, it bodes well for the district as we start to move forward. We still have other projects we can complete. Debt service fund. Oh, and I should talk about this real quick. I'll just interject this one. We will be applying for capital projects. It relates to facilities. So it's a facility discussion. We qualify for a study and survey from the state. Every 6 years, you can apply for a study and survey. And so I want to inform the board and my superintendent who will apply for a study and survey from the state. They'll give us a grant, and then we have an architect come through and they evaluate all of our structures again. You know, Kevin had come in earlier and he talked about, hey, how are our buildings looking structurally? Are they stable? Are they okay? Do we need to do some repairs? So they look at everything from from the walls, the foundations, the roof, the HVAC, all those types of things, and he'll come through and do an evaluation of that. The grant should be about 44,000, and he'll just do that for whatever the grant is.
And then they actually give you a percentage of life, like a life percentage of your building. Like this building is 65%
used or whatever.
Yeah.
They do that. Do you do that every year or?
Well, every 6 years.
Okay, because we did that a few years ago, because I remember you came in and gave us that spiel.
We did a short one, but we haven't done one it's been about 7. We're cruising along. High school's been built, and so it's time to do one. If we do one out in 2026, the next one will be available in 2032, so that timing might be just right to start looking at bonds and where facilities are, because you'll need a study. Generally, you need a study and survey that's fairly recent when you go for SCAP money from SCAP. That's what they call the program with the state of Washington, and that's where they have reimbursement for our buildings. That's as we had all of our buildings under that program, and then you just have one of those completed at that point in time, or really very close to that. Debt service, again, this is paying for the debt. This is the bonds. The only bonds we have outstanding are the bonds in the high school. There's 2 separate bonds. One we sold in 2017 and the other one in 2018 for the high school. You can see in here that what is the cost of the bonds, the principal, as well as the interest on the bonds. So we're paying the bonds down, paid down 1,245,000 on the principal this last year. We pay a leasehold tax. It says bond transfer fees, but that's actually a leasehold tax that is paid on leasing the property on the Wilson Highway property. We pay that to the state of Washington. Beginning fund balance 1.3. We grew a little bit to 1.3 million in the debt service fund. Debt service fund needs to be fairly large when we close the books, is because we make two payments. We make one payment on June 1st, another payment on December 1st. June 1st is only interest that we pay on the bonds, but the December one is interest and principal. So that's why it starts to grow a little bit, and then we make that big payment December 1st, and we want to make sure we do have enough dollars to make that payment. And so we have a little bit of reserve. You know, what's it look like December 31st? That's really our gauge. And we work with the bond companies also, our underwriters. Okay, this can be at a certain number. It can't be too large. We can't be, you know, making a big bank account and savings account out of it. So I try to hit that as close as we can through these years.
When the bonds are all paid, if there's money left in there, does it have to stay there, or can we put it somewhere else?
Usually you do a refund,
Okay.
but you've already collected it. I'd have to go back and look. We haven't ever, we've continued on. That's an excellent question, and I just haven't run into all.
Okay,
But usually for the most part, those are, yes, usually refund it, or you find a way to maybe move it to capital projects.
Okay.
There's one thing that we do an unusual that other districts do not, and that is in our debt service fund, the investment earnings we have. We passed a resolution way back the beginning of Dawn. And I passed that resolution. So all the investment earnings, the debt service, are put in the general fund every single month.
Oh, okay.
So it's legal to do that, and it's sitting there, and it just continued on. I really would have liked to have had to go to capital projects, would have been nicer, but it always allows some of the things we'd like to do. But I'm going to investigate that. It's been enough years.
How do you change that?
Oh, did they? We should see if we can move that one around, huh?
Yeah, you set it up once, you can set it up twice.
Treasurer, this is for the yellow school buses. You can see the revenues in here. The state money, the 274,000, that happens to be the depreciation the state paid. And locally happens to be investment earnings. And there's a transfer that came in, 404,000. We only paid for, it looks like here, 2 buses ordered in 23-24. One showed up 24-25, so there's only one bus we paid for, 179,000. Another bus is on its one in 24-25. One bus showed up in the fall, and we're going to pay for that one right now. Actually, there's a bus that showed up, and there's another bus on its way. So we'll be paying for 2 buses in 25-26 that were ordered last year. There we go. And we're getting ready. And you just ordered another one. You approved another one. It'll hopefully be here in August. So if everything plays out, it would this when we close the books in 25-26, it may look like we've paid for 3 buses because they on the air starting to ramp up and buses move through. Then ASB. ASB, these are all the different all ASBs across the district. You have each one of the schools have ASBs. The largest ones that really move are the middle school and high school. The elementary schools, the only thing they put in their ASB at this point in time happens to be their book fair that they run. And that's mostly an in and out. They collect the money, they ship it all off. They have a few other things to drain them down. Yes, they do run fundraisers, but they're fundraisers because the state attorney general allows us to have fundraisers in the general fund. So we put their fundraiser in the general fund. And those are one of the things we kept track of on the reserve. I mentioned the reserve earlier. So elementaries have fundraiser accounts, and those are kept in the general fund. And the reason for the general fund, just to answer a question that wasn't asked, but I like to answer questions. So ASB, if you raise money in ASB, you're restricted to what you can spend the money on. It can only be for activities outside of what happens during the day. So if you want to give a reading goal, like AR, used to have AR and give out, if you met your goal, they'd like to use ASB. They cannot use ASB. But if they raise it in the general fund, then they can do it for curriculum types of items during the day. And all the other things that ASB can pay for. So the best of all the worlds, you just put it in the general fund, and then you can do all the pieces. So I changed that, oh my gosh, at least 15 years over there, 15 before that.
Yeah.
Right here,
20 years.
you can just look at the numbers in here real quick. Bottom line is overall 222,000 revenue expenditures. They increased by 14,000. They have 236,000 in there. You can go up here and look at the ending balance of each one of the schools.
And the auditor does like to see that ASB spends their money like you have at the high school. If they're gonna raise money, they need to spend it that year because it's for those students. So they shouldn't be trying to build a huge reserve. Now, if we had a band that was going to go to the Rose Bowl and be in the parade or something, and they're gonna go every 4 years, well, that would be a good reason to build a reserve. But maybe they're raising money, those types of things. So the discussions I have within my office with Heather, and she then has it with all the high school staff and periodically, probably once a year. I don't have it very often. Maybe once a year I'll go talk to the principal and talk and say, okay, look at all your clubs, or even Michelle, because Michelle's running most of them. Make sure that they're spending the money on those students right then. Or if they want to save money, then maybe they save it because they're doing something special the next year and need 2 years to get to that. The trust fund, we've talked about that before. The trust fund is 470,000. Brought in investment earners 15,000, spent 14,000 on scholarships. That'll be coming up here in January. So I'll need to bring in, let you review the guidelines first. We'll bring those in. In fact, if I think about it, I get them to you in December. You at least get a chance to read them and then make a decision in January. If you want to change anything, you always have that option as a board to make any changes on how you allocate it out. And then we'll come back after you make that decision and we'll cut a check for the scholarship fund that goes to Dollars for Scholars. Has been the mode of operation here for the last few years.
Because didn't we raise that this last year?
I don't have it right here, but yes, that's why the 14,000.
Yeah, 'cause I think it was 10.
Yeah, and then we raised it to whatever the interest made to give the interest away.
Yeah, I think we need to look at it again and say a minimum of 15,000 or whatever the interest is.
Yeah, make it a round number.
Well, a maximum of 15,000 or what the interest is. So if the interest is only 12, and actually you should make it 15. We ought to do it. There's no reason this couldn't go down a little bit.
Yes.
I mean,
you can just keep an eye on it.
If you made it at 15 and you brought in, it's just a minimum of that, even if you only brought in 13,000 in interest, so you went down $2,000. Who cares?
Yes, and you can make that decision. And so the reason the scholarship fund is less than the investment earnings, because investment earnings are based upon the fiscal year from September to August. Whereas when you give it out the award of scholarships, we use, okay, what do we raise from January to December?
Yeah.
We look at it that way. That's why they're off a little bit. Otherwise, it would have been exactly the same. And this is not the first page, but it's the second page in the F-196. It has all the funds on here. You can look here, the first row going across the top. You have the general fund, ASB, the debt service, capital projects, veterans vehicle fund. The permanent fund is really the trust fund, but because we're a custodial fund, because of the way that it was organized, it would have shown up on the permanent fund as a trust fund in there, but because we're organized as a custodial fund, it doesn't show up on this document. And then you can see the first line is the revenues, second line expenditures, other financing sources. You can see if there's any additional dollars that are uses, and that shows where the general fund we had used 600,000 and it transferred out. Excess revenues and so those transfers they don't show up on a line on here because the 600,000 for the other funds, the capital projects, and then the transfer vehicle fund, it shows up underneath the first line under revenues. It's embedded in that number. So there you have it. Any questions you might have?
No, good job, Brad.
Welcome. If you have any further questions, looking at any documents, or if you hear about anything else, some other district doing something that we're not doing, feel free to ask me a question. Investigated.
No, I never do that for them.
Hey, Fred.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we already did the consent agenda. We'll move down to new business. The middle school's improvement plan.
Make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carries. Okay. Policy 6220.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
This one, the federal guidance has changed and allowed us to increase those dollar limits from 10,000 to 15,000 to be considered small purchases. And so I'm suggesting highly requesting the board approve it because it makes our jobs a little bit easier, increasing those the part of the bid law that exists for the federal side of the house. And so we'd like to be able to follow those as soon as possible. So I modified the policy, the 6220. I haven't seen one from WASDA yet, but it was just changed. If you look at the policies, just changing these numbers.
Right.
That's all it is.
So
And on the federal side.
Is this the first reading and we got to approve it at our next meeting, or can we approve it now?
I would love it if the board would.
What has
approve it
on here,
now.
make a motion, so
Okay, I make a motion to approve policy changes to 6220.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good. And the fund balance, we need to make a motion on that.
Yeah, that's an unemployment pool. We're required to reserve it.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Unified basketball schedule,
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, we already did Mr. Darling's report. Now, Sabrina, are we missing one of these three? Or are these the three we actually,
These are the three.
right, but
It was EL
14. Okay, it was EL
That's gonna go to the
14.
next
So
one.
EL, just so you guys know, I don't know if you've seen it. There was a snafu with what came through, I believe,
Yeah.
and wasn't able to do it. Sabrina was gonna have it added, but most everybody was at WASDA, so we're gonna table that till the next meeting, so it'll get added to the next one. I did notice we only had 4 responders to this. I don't know who didn't respond,
I have to look back into.
but anyway. I didn't see anything on there and I didn't leave my computer open to get
There were
comment.
comments on the one, but they were mostly.
It was still approved, but
It
then they
was
still had
approved,
comment.
and it was like, not enough data. We'll
We'll have
next
more in a
year.
later date,
Yeah,
or 2 months or whatever.
I
it
didn't
was.
have I didn't have a problem with the comments.
So, we'll do each one of these separate.
Okay,
So we'll do a,
make a motion to approve GP 12.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, I don't think that one had any comments.
No,
I think the next one does, so that. next one
Academic
you'll wanna
standard
Stay
one.
approved with comments.
I make a motion to approve EL 13 with comments.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Make a motion to approve N6.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Okay. The board assessment, I did it. Some of the stuff I actually put as 4s, because some of the stuff we really don't do much of some of it, like we didn't get into some of the stuff in the weeds, but, so anyway, it was still good. I don't know if this is the place for that or not, but the 2 that we tabled, they were put into our study session prior. But I think they need to be in one of our sessions that we're gonna start looking at policies.
Okay,
So
I agree with that.
what I would like to do is take those 2, but I want to add a couple things to them and see what you guys think of this, and then we could add it to our next study session. So it's those 2 policies that we talked about was 60. I can't remember which ones they are now. 64.
Give me 1 second.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, but the other ones, I would like to see about putting a committee together, and we can set this committee up at our next study session to see about getting students. I'm not saying voting rights on the board, but part of the board. That makes sense. And I think Rob actually set in on a thing on Saturday that was more into that could help.
Yeah, I sat in on one 2 years ago, and they can't have voting rights because they're not elected
Right.
officials, but yes, they can be here for comment.
So I would like to see about putting a committee together to see how we would make that work. And if we do the committee, I was thinking of a couple board members and then they can do some research and bring some stuff back and we can discuss that at the study session, but that was one. And then the other one was setting up the committee for the policy evaluations, the one we were just talking about, the two. The other one is the cell phone policy, and we already have one. I just don't think we follow it. And I think it needs to be reviewed. I would like to add that to the agenda to put a committee together to evaluate that and see if it needs to be updated. Then how we're gonna enforce it, and that will be more on Rob's plate.
So do we want to do I mean, we could kind of roll all that up into a little
Yep.
bit of professional
Yep,
development.
no, all
And
this.
maybe do it on a Saturday
I
morning.
think we need to have another little study session on a Saturday, and I think we had some different dates set up that we weren't sure what we were gonna do, even thinking about doing it possibly between the holidays or right after the holiday, trying to
Yeah.
find a thing to do it. Yes, I would like to roll all this up and put it in the agenda. So we'd have the two evaluation policies,
Mhm.
the how do we get students involved in the board,
Mhm.
the cell phone,
Mhm.
reviewing the cell phone policy. So yes,
See, we're gonna need to have an onboarding too in the next month or month and a half.
and I think we already have that in the, I thought we already had a date for that in our calendar to do onboarding with potential new members.
I can double check.
Yeah, I kind of thought we had somewhat planned for that.
Like
So-
built it in.
You had sent us our board calendar that we put together and it was attached to a board packet. What would be the chances of getting that sent by itself?
Like the resolution or the one that I created?
No, the board calendar that you created.
I can send that out to you guys.
That
Maybe
might
okay.
help, because yeah, I think we put some stuff on there and I would have to do some digging to find it.
Yeah, no worries. I
Yeah.
can fill that out. I mean, email it out.
The other thing that I'm just letting you know, I'm gonna add to the agenda and I'll get with Sabrina on it is, I would like to get, 5 or so minutes from each of the members that went to WASDA to give us a recap of what they experienced. Kind of like we're asking out of the kids that we send, the teachers that we send off for development. I think we ought to do the same thing. What did we get out of it? What was positive? What was maybe negatives, which no valet parking. But I think we need to give some feedback and even from you guys that went into what session, because I'll tell you, I only sat in, was it one session I sat in with someone else? It was just that budget one with Brad. I think I was in a session by myself on everything else, so nobody else was in my
We
session.
were in the cell phone.
Oh.
you and I.
Yep, in the cell phone one. So, but I think we need to help other people with those, what we set in on. So we can put that in the agenda for the next meeting. So we did the board assessment. Anybody else have from the board? I don't think I have anything else from the board.
So we'll have for the next retreat, students on the board, cell phone policy, the 2 evaluation policies, and then onboarding.
Yes.
Okay. And at the next board meeting, like a WASDA learning and reflection.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. On the FYIs, we've already talked about the enrollment. We've already talked about the cash flow. We already talked about the budget. One of those two were board evaluation and superintendent evaluation, are they not? Were those two policies? Yes, okay, perfect. I read them over, you sent them, and I printed them, and then I forgot to bring them, but I did read over them. They're very, very generic. I think we just need to look at rewriting those to have it line up with policy governance. So,
And what I can do is I can take the requirements from those evaluations and overlap when throughout the year our policy governance and which policies tick the boxes for those. You gotta give you like a kind of a roadmap.
Yeah, because there was in there talked about Washington state requirements of things you got to look at. So we need to make sure that aligns with our policy governance or add that to either one to make it aligned.
Yep.
Our policy governance could grow or could change based on those things.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? A lot of stuff. This is one of our longest meetings we've had in a while. We wanted to keep you here as long as possible. I'm gonna give this to you. Okay, nothing else? Okay, fine, looks great.
Yeah, good job.
Well, hey, could we log onto that thing maybe with my phone? Cause it's not a school district phone?
We already got it.
Oh,
But we could put it on your.
No, I don't want it. I'm just saying you guys sound like you guys were having trouble with the internet. I didn't know if maybe going
Oh,
through.
he got it changed the color.
Oh, have I not noticed it?
Uh-uh.
I thought it was gonna flash at us.
Well, they couldn't make it flash.
Oh.
We wanted to do that when Rob was giving his report.
Oh, there you go.
Couldn't-
Oh. You know, I was worried about that cord being too long. It's not too long. Adjourned.
Yeah, flickering hue of brown.
Admire